They lurk in the shadows of YouTube, forgotten noir classics and dark thrillers that once lit up smoke-filled theaters now wait silently to be rediscovered. Free, uncut, and chilling. We found the most gripping hidden gems of the golden noir age now streaming on YouTube. These are not the ones you know. These are the ones you were never meant to find. DOA. 1950. A man stumbles into a police station. He declares he has been murdered. Not threatened. Not attacked. Murdered. DOA opens with this arresting moment and only gets more desperate from there. It tells the story of Frank Bigelow, a small-town accountant who visits San Francisco for a break. But when he wakes up one morning sick and disoriented, he learns he's been poisoned with a toxic cocktail that leaves him just days to live. No cure. No mercy. Frank turns from passive pencil pusher into a haunted man on a mission. His goal is not to survive, but to solve his own murder before his time runs out. The result is a suspense-filled odyssey through shady nightclubs, desperate phone calls, alleyway ambushes, and a trail of cold betrayal. Shot in stark, high-contrast, black-and-white DOA is pure noir, from its dialogue to its dizzying cinematography. The ticking clock format makes every scene pulse with urgency. You feel every second slipping away as Frank races against fate itself. There is no hope, just questions. And each answer drags him deeper into a web of corruption. It is one of the earliest and most unforgettable race-against-time thrillers. And somehow, it is completely free on YouTube in pristine quality. This is not just essential noir. It is a blueprint for cinematic suspense. Money Madness, 1948. Don't let the low-budget title fool you. Money Madness is lean, grim, and mean. A noir about greed, murder, and emotional manipulation disguised as love. The story begins with Steve Clark, a war veteran who drives an armored car. He appears polite, steady, perhaps even dull. But in truth, he is planning a heist that will leave bodies behind. He executes it with cold precision, then vanishes to a small town where he reinvents himself and quickly marries a sweet, naive girl named Julie. But she has no idea she is part of the getaway plan. What makes Money Madness a hidden noir gem is not just the tension. It is the coldness of its anti-hero. Steve is not a wild gangster or a tortured soul. He is ordinary, controlled. His menace lies in how calmly he destroys lives with a smile. The film builds its suspense in the quiet moments. Suspicion, gaslighting, psychological pressure. Julie becomes isolated, haunted by shadows she cannot explain, until finally the truth erupts in one of the most brutal domestic twists of any 40s thriller. With a short runtime and relentless pacing, Money Madness wastes nothing. It captures the dark undercurrent of post-war America, the fear that the quiet man next door might not be who he says he is. It also flips the noir formula. The villain is not hunted. He hides in plain sight. You can watch it free on YouTube, and once you do, you will never trust a smile again. Blonde Ice, 1948. She does not kill in passion. She kills in cold blood, and she always gets away with it. Blonde Ice is a hard-edged noir about a society columnist who turns marriage into murder and seduction into strategy. Claire Cummings is beautiful, poised, and deadly. Every man she marries meets a mysterious fate. But Claire is not a woman scorned. She is a woman who plays the game better than anyone else. What sets this film apart from standard femme fatale stories is how completely it centers the villain. Claire is not just a danger to men. She is smarter than the cops, colder than the killers, and fully in control. The film never tries to soften her or explain her. It simply watches her climb higher with each body left behind. Blonde Ice has the pacing of a crime procedural but the psychology of a horror film. You watch a woman manipulate everyone around her and start to wonder how far she'll go. The answer is all the way. The cinematography is sleek and shadowed. The script is tight with cynical one-liners. And despite its modest production, this film delivers a performance from Leslie Brooks that could stand beside any noir greats. Lost for decades and rarely broadcast, Blonde Ice is now fully restored and free on YouTube. It is one of the most underrated and unsparing portrayals of female villainy in classic cinema. If you want a noir that flips the gender dynamics and never flinches, this one cuts like a blade. Jigsaw, 1949. It starts with a suicide, but something about the room feels too neat. Jigsaw opens like a puzzle already missing pieces. A respected printer dies in his locked apartment. The press calls it a tragedy, but Assistant District Attorney Howard Malloy is not convinced. As he digs deeper, he uncovers a shadowy network tied to hate groups, organized crime, and a mysterious blonde whose name keeps changing. This is not your average noir. Jigsaw combines courtroom drama, undercover infiltration, and political conspiracy. The film was made at a time when fears about domestic fascism ran high, and that paranoia bleeds into every scene. Posters on walls, secret meetings in basements, names whispered behind closed doors. The real killer is not one man. It is a movement. What makes Jigsaw fascinating is its unusual structure. The mystery unfolds more like a web than a straight line. Every new clue connects to something larger. You start to question if even the investigators are safe. Featuring cameos from classic stars like Henry Fonda and Marlene Dietrich, Jigsaw hides its punches in plain sight. It is cerebral and sinister. The film forces you to think not just about who killed the victim, but why so many people wanted the truth buried. This public domain thriller is on YouTube right now, restored, uncut, waiting to be pieced together again. If you like your noir, conspiratorial, and uncomfortably timely, this one delivers. Flight to Nowhere. 1946, a stolen map, a vanished scientist, and a flight that leads straight into espionage. Flight to Nowhere begins with the murder of a government agent and ends with an unassuming pilot caught in the middle of an atomic arms race. The stakes are high, but the people chasing the truth are not spies. They are normal citizens, pilots, and travelers drawn into danger one step at a time. This is post-war noir at its most paranoid. Everyone is running from something. Everyone is hiding something. And once you're on the plane, there's no way off. The characters circle each other at high altitude, playing games of charm and deceit, while the world below edges toward catastrophe. There is a desperation to this film, a sense that the post-war peace is fragile and full of secrets. The script mixes aviation tension with murder mystery, and scattered clues that lead from Las Vegas to the Pacific Islands, all wrapped in low-budget grit and shadowy lighting. Richard Travis plays the reluctant pilot hero caught between loyalty and survival. The dialogue is clipped, the pacing is brisk, and the ending hits with a surprising dose of tragedy. Flight to Nowhere is a forgotten relic of 40s thriller cinema, but its themes of nuclear anxiety and unseen enemies still feel eerily familiar. And best of all, you can watch it free right now, because sometimes the most dangerous secrets take off without a destination. Dangerous Passage, 1944. A man inherits a fortune, then discovers someone wants him dead before he ever sees it. Dangerous Passage is a seafaring noir with landlocked stakes. Joe Beck is an American in Honduras who learns he has come into money back home. But when he boards a ship to claim it, he finds the voyage cursed from the start. Mysterious crewmen, hidden documents, a beautiful woman with her own agenda, and a murder that puts Joe directly in the frame. The entire film plays out on a cramped ocean liner where tension builds with every wave. Joe is not a slick detective. He is a man in over his head. And as the bodies pile up, he must choose between trusting strangers or losing everything. What makes this film special is its fusion of classic noir tropes with maritime suspense. The fog outside the ship matches the moral fog on board. There is no safe harbor, just shadows behind doors and whispered threats in the night. The cinematography uses ship corridors like alleys and boiler rooms like interrogation chambers. You feel the claustrophobia, the uncertainty, the growing panic. Dangerous Passage is not as well known as its noir cousins, but it delivers suspense, isolation, and a surprisingly layered lead performance. And right now, it is fully available on YouTube, clean, crisp, and ready for rediscovery. Some journeys lead home, others turn into death traps. This one does both. Strange Illusion, 1945. He dreams his mother will marry a murderer. And in this noir, the dreams might be right. Strange Illusion is a hypnotic psychological thriller that blends noir style with eerie premonition. Paul Cartwright is a young man haunted by visions of his father's death. He believes his wealthy, widowed mother is being manipulated by a charming stranger who plans to kill her. But no one believes him. Not the police, not his friends. Not even his mother. What follows is part Hamlet, part shadow-drenched noir. Paul infiltrates a mental hospital where the suitor used to work, hoping to expose the truth. But reality starts to twist. Is he discovering secrets or descending into madness himself? What makes Strange Illusion stand out is its use of dream sequences, overlapping sound design, and atmospheric dread. The film moves like a waking nightmare. The villains are polite, the rooms are quiet, but danger hums in every silence. The director Edgar G. Ulmer, known for Detour, crafts a surreal, low-budget masterpiece with themes of gaslighting, grief, and moral clarity in a fog of lies. It is an early exploration of how trauma warps perception and how youth often sees what adults refuse to face. Now, fully restored and streaming free on YouTube, this is a noir that plays like a slow psychological collapse. If Alfred Hitchcock had directed a Twilight Zone episode set inside a disturbed young man's head, it might feel like this. You will question what is real. That is the illusion. Dick Tracy Detective, 1945. Before Batman and Bond, there was Dick Tracy, and in this first noir-style feature, he is all fists, fedoras, and furious pacing. Dick Tracy Detective introduces the square-jawed crime fighter in a world of shadow slugs and savage gangsters. The case begins with a series of violent killings. The culprit is Split-Face, a knife-wielding maniac who hides behind grotesque scars and a warped vendetta. He is not after money, he is out for revenge, and he is crossing names off his hit list one by one. What makes this film fascinating is its merging of comic strip clarity with noir brutality. The cinematography embraces shadow. The characters are drawn like caricatures, but played with deadly seriousness. The result is a pulpy world that feels both cartoonish and real. A place where death comes in alleyways and justice walks fast with a trench coat and a gun. Morgan Conway plays Tracy with controlled rage and relentless energy. The supporting cast includes snappy sidekicks, stoic dames, and a gallery of lowlifes that could fill a dozen crime stories. Dick Tracy Detective is often overlooked because of its origins in pulp comics. But watch it today, and you will see a bridge between Saturday serials and hard-boiled noir. Its style is fast, its tone is brutal, and its villain is unforgettable. Now, streaming free and full, the film proves that even pop heroes can tread through shadows. Dick Tracy meets Gruesome, 1947. When horror icon Boris Karloff joins the Dick Tracy series, you get something weird, something wild, and something noir. Dick Tracy Meets Gruesome is the fourth and most unhinged entry in the Dick Tracy film saga. This time, the villain is Gruesome, a corpse-faced criminal freshly released from prison. Played with deadpan menace by Karloff, Gruesome steals a scientific formula that paralyzes its victims in place. One spritz, and people freeze like statues. Then, he robs them blind. The plot is pure pulp science fiction, but the execution is pure noir. Shadowy streets, high-angle shots, newsrooms filled with smoke, and a detective who is just trying to outsmart a monster in a human suit. Gruesome is not just scary, he is smart. He plays everyone, even the police. His crimes are theatrical, his methods cruel, and his plans strangely modern, chemical warfare as street-level terrorism. Ralph Byrd returns as Tracy with his trademark steely resolve. Anne Gwynn plays the kidnapped scientist's assistant who knows just a little too much. And behind the cartoonish title lies a film with surprising tension, moral stakes, and Karloff's chilling calm. This film is a perfect blend of horror and noir, and it shows how far the genre could bend before breaking. 1 minute you are in a crime drama, the next you are in a sci-fi nightmare, all in under an hour. Now, fully available free on YouTube, this forgotten fusion is a hidden monster in the noir shadows. Sherlock Holmes and the Woman in Green, 1945. Hypnotism, serial murder, and one of the most sinister femmes fatales in classic detective cinema. Sherlock Holmes and the Woman in Green begins with a string of brutal killings. Women found dead with one finger severed. The public is terrified. Scotland Yard is baffled. And Holmes suspects something deeper, more psychological than just random slaughter. Enter Lydia Marlowe. Elegant, poised, and quietly terrifying. Holmes believes she is connected to the crimes. But how? Is she a pawn? A mastermind? Or something even more dangerous? What sets this entry apart from the usual Holmes adaptations is how fully it embraces noir. The lighting is shadow-drenched, the conversations coil with suggestion, and Basil Rathbone plays Holmes not as a mere genius, but as a man haunted by what he sees in the human mind. The real shock is that the killer may not be wielding a knife, but wielding control. Victims who do not remember being attacked, suspects who forget their own alibis, and behind it all, a cold scheme of psychological warfare. The noir lens adds layers to every moment. You are not just solving a case. You are navigating the warped corridors of human thought. Rathbone's Holmes is commanding. Nigel Bruce's Watson brings unexpected gravitas. And the finale is a masterclass in tension and mind games. Restored and streaming free on YouTube, this entry turns the detective genre inside out. Sometimes the darkest place is not the crime scene. It is the mind. Kansas City. Confidential, 1952. A brutal heist, 4 masked men, and an innocent ex-con framed and hunted. Kansas City. Confidential is hard-boiled noir at its rawest. Joe Rolfe is a delivery driver wrongfully accused of a bank robbery he had no part in. Beaten, jailed, and disgraced, he is released without apology. But Joe does not want justice. He wants revenge. What follows is a relentless manhunt, not by the police, but by one man trying to find 4 others who stole his life. The twist? The real thieves do not even know each other. They wore masks, used fake names, and have never seen their boss. They were meant to disappear until Joe comes knocking. This film is steeped in post-war paranoia. Everyone's hiding something. No one trusts anyone, and Joe is walking a razor's edge between truth and vengeance. The film builds like a pressure cooker, each confrontation sharper, each reveal darker. John Payne delivers a powerhouse performance as a man transformed by betrayal. The cinematography is bold, filled with stark close-ups and tight interiors that feel like cages. Every scene hums with distrust. This is not just a noir. It is a template for modern crime thrillers, and its influence shows in everything from Reservoir Dogs to Heat. Restored in full and free on YouTube. Kansas City. Confidential is a noir that does not flinch. It punches hard and leaves bruises. The Stranger, 1946. Sometimes the most terrifying villain is the one hiding in plain sight. The Stranger is a noir thriller directed by Orson Welles and starring Edward G. Robinson. But its real hook is the story. A Nazi war criminal living under a false identity in small-town America, hiding as a schoolteacher, loved by the community, engaged to a senator's daughter, and waiting for the world to forget what he did. Robinson plays the investigator on his trail, calm, methodical, relentless. As he closes in, the town begins to fracture. Suspicion grows, but the killer remains composed, until the mask starts to crack. Welles himself plays the fugitive, cold, intelligent, coiled with menace. This is one of his most unsettling performances. He does not rage, he reasons, he charms, he blends, and that makes him all the more terrifying. What makes The Stranger exceptional is its subtext. This is not just a thriller. It is a post-war warning. Evil does not vanish. It assimilates, it adapts, and sometimes it wears a smile. The final act, set in a clock tower, is pure visual poetry, shadows climbing, time ticking, judgment descending. Once buried under decades of legal limbo, The Stranger is now public domain and fully restored on YouTube. It remains one of the most powerful noir thrillers ever made, and one of the most haunting. You do not just watch this film, you carry it with you. These forgotten noir and thrillers do not just entertain, they unsettle. They whisper from the shadows of cinema's past, and now they are free, waiting for new eyes to find them. If you love the darkness, click subscribe for more lost classics. We bring the shadows back into the light. Stay sharp.